Good evening, sir.
Hello, Emmanuel. Good evening. Sorry, hold on.
Okay, sir.
Good evening, Emmanuel. How are you doing?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you doing?
Okay, I'm fine, sir. How about you?
Fine. Oh. Can you share your screen? Let's sort out that this thing before the class starts, or should we do it after the class? Shouldn't take too
Okay.
long. Are you on your system?
After the class. So that,
After the class, okay, no problem.
No. I logged in with my phone, but my system is. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. How was the presentation today?
Yeah, it was okay. Mr. Martins even came around. He came to Aba. So
Yeah.
he said we did well.
He said he was going to come around today.
Yeah. So he said we did well, that our instructor is really trying.
Yeah, you guys did not send me your presentation slides.
Okay, we will send it. We prepared the slides just this morning. That's why it was
You
ready
have sent
this
it to
morning.
me. I
Yeah.
didn't want to start chatting you guys to send it up so that you don't get tensed up. But after the class, try and send it to me. The presentation slide and the network diagram.
Okay, no problem, sir. Okay.
Yeah, you are the head of the group, Abby.
Yes, sir. Group A. Yes.
All right. What of Favor? She did her own presentation in Umuahia.
Yes, sir. I chatted her up. She said it went well too.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's great. Have you registered for the Azure account?
No, sir. I could know that PF Sense. I stayed on that for long till around 2 o'clock. So because I could not install it, I couldn't proceed with other ones.
Azure and PFSense are not the same now. But we're going to use that Azure today. We're going to use Azure today.
Okay, I will just create it right away.
All right. It doesn't take time.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Um, I dropped the slides for today's class on the Discord.
The site or the
slides for
file.
today's class. We're starting a new module today. So it's on the Discord. It's under resources on the Discord stuff. I don't know if I can share. I think I can share files here. Yeah, I can. I should be able to.
Okay, sir.
I already tried it. Hi, Favor. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Well done. How was your presentation today?
It went well.
Why are you laughing? That laughter is sounding like the opposite of what you are saying.
The presentation went well. I was the only person.
I knew you would be the only person. I knew you would be the only person. That's why I said, thank God at least we have someone presenting in Umar here. So please remind me, Emmanuel and Favor, when the class starts, there's a capstone project I'm supposed to introduce you guys to, right? So that we'll talk about it when the class is a bit complete.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. I can't see where to share files here. Man, this Teams is it because I'm using a personal account? It's the first time I'm using a personal account on Teams, so there are a lot of features that I'm not seeing here. Well, it's on the Discord though. I can get it from there. Uh, So what's the next after this?
Please, sir, the Azure account you want us to open, can you drop the link for us, like how we can get to it, the link?
Is this already recording? Okay, it's recording. All right. Let's start, please. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir. Please, I was asking for the link I can use to create
Yeah,
the
I put it on
account.
the chat.
Okay. On
It's on
this
this
chat
chat.
or
Yes, on this
okay.
chat.
Okay.
Let me put it on the
Thank
Discord
you.
as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. So let's start. I'll just share my screen. Good evening, everybody. Emeka, you are with us today. It's a special occasion.
Good evening, sir. Sorry.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well.
Well done. Okay. Let's go ahead and start. Good evening, everyone. Well, welcome to today's module. Confirm if you can see my screen, please.
Your screen is visible, sir.
All right. Okay. So today we'll be starting with cloud security, cloud computing and security with virtualization. But before we start, I wanted to let us know we'll be involved in a capstone project. Now, the project will take 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Hold on, let me see. Mr. Martins is going to share a document with us later, but I want to introduce us to it, so prepare our mind and start figuring out ways to work on it. So the whole idea of this capstone project is that we want to create a solution for Abia states, right? That will help them in the commercial marketing of or commercial market of their leather. Is it only leather? I think leather and tailoring as well. So the way we want to structure it is that we're creating a marketplace, right? A digital marketplace where buyers and sellers come to meet. Now, when I'm talking of digital marketplace, I'm sure you'll be thinking of something online like Jumia, Konga, what have you. Yeah, it's similar, but it's not the same, right? Now, we want to create something very simple and something that will be very easy to use, because we know that not all the sellers or the buyers are that tech savvy. So we'll be integrating something with either Instagram or WhatsApp or both, where you get to interact with our web application at the back end. So it's your normal Instagram or WhatsApp interaction. Now, the way it works is that vendors would register on the application, right, through Instagram. So we're going to create probably like an API that integrates into Instagram. So it's your normal Instagram operations. I'm sorry, I'm not on Instagram, so I don't really know how Instagram operates. I'm barely on any social media apart from WhatsApp. But so you can, as a vendor, you join the digital platform, and then you can display your products, your services, and whatever adverts you want to do via the platform. We have different operations going. Is it operations now? Different trainings going on. We have people doing social media. We have those doing UI, UX. We have those doing Well, of course, you are doing cybersecurity. We have those doing data analytics and AI, machine learning, and all that. Now we are going to every training sub project will be working on this, right? So we are going to be working on the cybersecurity. By we, I mean you, all right? I'll be involved just to, make sure things are going on point, directing you on what to do, making sure that we're going to meet our because we've broken down the project into milestones, weekly milestones, and then also functional milestones. So we're going to make sure that we meet these milestones in a timely manner to make sure that the project is completed on time. That's one. Number two is that what you'll be gaining from this is full hands-on experience, all right? You're going to be working in teams. Now, remember I told you in cybersecurity, you work with teams. You work with people that may not even be in cybersecurity. Your job is to secure. So our job is to secure the application. Now, I've talked about the vendors. They come in, they show their products. The customers also can come and, view a full display of products from different vendors, prices, and all that. The customer can now decide which one he wants to purchase and then chat directly with the vendor via Instagram or WhatsApp, right? And then after that, the customer also gets to make an order. Now, at the back end, you have the what is the name of these people? The data analytics guys, and then the UI UX guys, and the social media guys working on the social media. They're working on the WhatsApp. The WhatsApp and the Instagram. They also help to push advertisement, so they make sure that products on that platform is being advertised, like pushing out. I don't know what they do anyway, but they push leads, advert leads, and all that, and then bring traction to the market. All right. The data analytics guys, of course, they are going to be involved in tracking information about the marketplace, looking at what is working fine, what needs to be improved on based on the data they are getting, and then organizing things at the back end with the analytics. The UI UX, they are going to design the application to make it very simple. Unfortunately, we don't have developers, like we don't have front end, back end as part of the courses we are doing here, but we have DevOps, right? DevOps guys can also design this application. Now, you would be involved in the coding. You're not going to be coding, all right? You'll be involved in the application security. So from day one, you're going to be looking at their coding practices and making sure that they involve security in all the applications. So you're looking at the security aspect of all the codes and making sure that everything is properly done. So look at the security features of the application. We will not wait till it is complete to start, beefing up security. We start security from day one. So we're going to be doing security by design and security by default, and also making sure that there is proper secure coding practice for those that will be doing the code. Now, we may be using a lot of AI to generate code and all that, but we will still get to look at the interior of those codes and make or the features of those codes, make sure we're imputing various security practices in it. We would also be looking at how to protect data privacy, personal data privacy, how you're going to protect customers and all that, because the truth of the matter is there's hardly anybody that has not been a victim of maybe one form of cyber attack or the other. It could be social engineering or phishing or something. Now, when I mean victim, I mean you've been at one point or the other contacted for or involved in social engineering attack. It might not have been successful, it might have been successful. Now, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you actually being exposed to it. So a lot of people are quite skeptical when it comes to using digital products, especially on social media. All right. So our job is to make sure that it is as secure as possible. All right. So let's go and start looking at ways that we're going to put security in this application. When it starts, things will be going on very fast. We'll be having maybe some form of daily sprint meeting. I will be heading this team, the cybersecurity team. Not really heading. I'll just be pushing you, making sure you guys are, going in the right direction, giving you your weekly task and your daily task that you need to achieve. Please, when you're working on a project like this, you can't be the weak link, all right? You can't be the one that is not delivering, because everybody's output gets to determine the pace of the project. So we don't want, we need you to achieve such, so and such today, and then by the end of today, by tomorrow in the meeting, you are telling us that you can't achieve it because there was no light, because one thing or the other. It tends to make model things up. Now we'll be having over, if I'm correct, at least over 50 people working on this project. So we'll be using some form of version control, some form of, you may not interact with everybody at the same time, or you may not interact with everybody. You just know your task and you do your tasks, all right? So that is it. Do we have any questions? But before we even go further, is there anybody here that has a Zenith account?
Yes, I do.
That's Emmanuel, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So Zenith Bank has a feature, right, where you can use WhatsApp to do things like internet banking. Like you can initiate transfers, check your balance, block your account, similar to the USSD banking, that's the 966 hash, right? They call it Ziba. So you can check out the application. It's free. You can register on it. Check out the security tools they use on it. So it's something similar to that we may do. The idea is similar, but it may not be that close. But check out Ziba and see the security features on it, because Ziba also makes sure that you create a PIN at the beginning of the whole process, and then it verifies you. Your WhatsApp number should be the number that you are receiving alert on. All right. If it's not the number you're receiving alert on, you can't do Ziba on it. Like, I mean, your Zenith alerts, your bank alerts. So there are certain features it puts in place. So you can check it out and then give us your feedback on that. You'll see the part of the Ziva that goes outside WhatsApp to a Zenith platform, just to take some information from you that is not secure for you to give on WhatsApp. All right, so just look at it, just a simple web page with maybe a form, just 2 inputs and all that, right? Like the part where it's collecting your PIN or something, you don't put it on WhatsApp. It takes you to the application. So that's on Zenith interface. So it will be integrated using an API. So we can read up what an API is and how it operates, but it's just a way of you integrating your application into another organization's systems or application without any issues. So it's like putting it as a plugin, kind of. It's an extended level of plugin. So APIs are very common nowadays. Like you have the API for Paystack that helps you collect payments and all that. You don't have to worry about doing all that in your own application when designing it. Same thing with Remita and others. All right. Do we have any question on this? So they'll give you we'll be sending out a document for this. This is the one I was sent. This is more complete. This is not what you need. Only the one that has to do with cybersecurity you'll be involved in. But I'm trying to see. Yeah, so this is what the core teams will be doing. So you'll be involved in protecting vendor data, customer data, the platform integrity, and then this is our deliverables. All right. So we'll be making sure that these are all implemented, right? We're not the ones implementing most of them. The coding team will do that, but our job is to make sure it is properly implemented without any form of data leakage or security vulnerability. All right. Okay. Also, we do threat modeling, we'll also do risk assessments of that application. All right, and with that, we will know what to prepare for. So once we start, we'll be moving very fast. Please, we will need your assistance. It's part of the deliverable we're giving to the Abia state government. So that application is meant for Abia state government. And then the government says that they are losing a lot of money or in terms of taxes and even watching the market because people that are in the business, the leather business and the tailoring business, or I don't know what they call it, fabric or textile business, they are running everything behind the government, and it's a billionaire industry, right? So they want to be involved in it and they want to regulate it properly. Okay, so that's it. So each course instructor will be will be leading his team, but of course we'll also have team leads among you guys. We'll be having meetings too. We'll be having meetings, the management of Curate and the instructors, and then we'll pass down what we need you to do after the meetings. So I'll be involved in everything. If you have any issues, of course, you can always reach out to me and we'll sort it out together. So it's not like you're working, just you guys are working. Any blockers, we'll sort it out. All right, so Emmanuel, do me a favor, check out Ziva. I've checked it out already. I feel it's something that we may do, but more on Instagram because of the advertisements and all that. And then this may be different because Ziva is just normal, one application, one product with Zenith, but we are doing different vendors showcasing their products as well. So Mr. Martins will meet with you guys and discuss more about it and send out information about it. But we should be starting all this by next 2 weeks, I think. We're starting a new week tomorrow, so the upper week, Monday. Right? So let's prepare ourselves, please. All right, any questions on that? Okay, so let's go in for what we have today. Today, we're going to be talking about cloud computing and virtualization. And as we already know, a lot of enterprise activities have moved operations to some extent to the cloud. Some do part operations on the cloud, parts on site premise. Some do full operations on the cloud, right? There are reasons for that. The cloud is one of the emerging technologies that people are, seeing the importance of the uses for, and they are harnessing it very well. All right. So, what are we going to be expecting from us at the end of this class in terms of our knowledge base? So, we should have understood the basic cloud computing. The basics of cloud computing and the different cloud service models. All right. We would also understand the cloud deployment model. So you classify the cloud by the cloud service model and cloud deployment models. All right. We would also look at the security on the cloud, the risk that you would face having your operations on the cloud, and certain limitations as well when it comes to security. We'll get hands-on skill on working on the cloud, carrying out various operations on the cloud and then implementing various security tools on the cloud as well. All right. We'll also learn how to secure our cloud environment, use the cloud environment. Now, remember, I have said this at the beginning of this training that you don't get to choose the platform your clients or your organization or your clients actually will be using. So it's good that you have knowledge of the basic environment, all right? So if you are working on site premise, that's fine, you have knowledge on it. If you are working off site, if you are working on the cloud, you also have knowledge on how to navigate and how to do things there. All right. So before we go in, of course, we need to know what is cloud computing. Cloud computing is just a way of delivering various computing services on the cloud basis. All right. So you are delivering various computing services across the internet, all right, or in the cloud. Now, what you mean by that is that whatever computing service you want to access, you can access it through your browser. You just log onto your cloud environment through your browser and access those services. Now, if you look at what's it called? If you look at VirtualBox, you see that the way the cloud is structured is a bit similar to how VirtualBox operates. All right, but we'll come back to that. All right, the cloud service uses virtualization, so it virtualizes everything about your computing environment. All right, so you have virtual machines, that's your virtual computer systems. Yeah, of course, your virtual machines will have virtual RAM, virtual processors, virtual hard disk, virtual network. Everything is virtualized, all right? Now, instead of having a server room where you have your server operating system, you have your firewall, you have your router and all that, everything is virtualized on the cloud. Now, there are some advantages of this, and there are some reasons that you want to have this. The first reason is the fact that it is scalable. All right. If you look at your on-site premise kind of operations, you see that the cost of starting the operations, you have to buy your you have to buy your servers, buy the racks, buy your operating system, your server operating system, you buy your firewall, you buy your switch, you buy your router. All those things are very expensive, all right? They are not small money, so it costs a lot of money. At the end of the day, if your business is growing, you need to buy more systems, right? Maybe you start with 10 systems, you have 10 users, you have your server room and everything. By the time your business is growing, you need to employ more people. By the time you're employing 50 people, you have to get more resources. You are getting more cables for connection, getting more systems and all that. So it starts becoming more costly and then increasing. And then after some time, you also see that these machines you bought, a machine you bought 10 years ago, if you see you bought 10 years ago, and the one you're currently using now, you see the big difference in terms of its functionalities or its efficiency. The processor speed for the one 10 years ago will be lower, the specification will be lower. It may not even meet certain application requirements that your system will be using today. All right, and then so you have to upgrade those systems. You have to upgrade, you have to increase systems. All those things cost money, and it's part of your operations cost. So that's cost efficiency. All right, on the cloud, you just start, right? And then I'm explaining cost efficiency and scalability together. And the way the cloud operates is that you start, you pay for only what you need. All right, you pay for only what you need. If your business is growing, you can increase your virtual machines, you can increase whatever you need to grow your business. If at some point you need to downscale, you only pay for what you are using. You can easily stop using a service and discontinue it and stop payment for it. All right. But for the on-site premise, if you need to downscale, you've already bought a lot of computers and all that, you will just only decommission them. The cost of buying them is still there. All right. And then after some time, you also do have maintenance costs, you have cost of upgrades and all that. So scalability is not so easy. Or it's not that it's not so easy, it's far more costly if you are using on-premises or hardware kind of operations. All right. So cost efficiency and scalability going hand in hand. On the cloud, startup costs may be a bit expensive, but after some time, it goes to scale and then it's cheaper for you to operate on the cloud. All right. So that's for scalability. You can easily increase size, reduce size. If you're in a business where you have peak periods, non-peak period, maybe you are selling a product that sells much during the Christmas period, maybe you are selling holiday gifts or something. Of course, that period you want to scale up. Then after that period, you can easily scale down. So the cloud is where you want to really operate your IT infrastructure. Now, for accessibility, of course, the cloud gives you that part of their service level agreement, or what we call SLA. They give you that guarantee of 99.999% uptime. All right. At any time you want to access Azure, it is always up. They've had some times when they've been victims of cyber attacks, but even with that, they still maintain a high level of accessibility. All right. So Microsoft has had once or twice it's been victim of cyber attack recently, but they were still able to maintain their Azure. And then this Iran war affected Amazon data centers, affected the level of operations of cloud services because of that for AWS and Azure as well. All right, but mostly AWS. Okay, so that's for accessibility. Flexibility and scalability, of course, they work hand in hand. Your costs are flexible. You get to monitor your cost. You get to monitor the size of your operations, and then you use only what you need. All right. You won't buy a service as final data is obsolete, and then you can't let go of it. You know, the way it is on your on-site premise where you buy a system, after some time you can't use it again. I remember when I was working in the banks, we used to have like all these printers, scanners. After like 5-6 years, they go obsolete. You have to get better ones, right? And then those ones you got, they are just there. Most times we just depreciate it fully and find ways of just discarding it at very ridiculous prices to external vendors. All right. Or sometimes we're just stuck with them. Nobody's using it. Okay. So that's the issue with that, right? Okay, so skip something. Yeah. So the way the cloud is like the way you have your virtual box, similar to it, right? So let's look at this my system now as Microsoft Azure, right? I have on my host machine, I can create other virtual machines. So assuming this is for company A, this is for company B, they'll come and pay for it. They get to decide what they want, all right? Company A can say, I want Ubuntu operating system, 1 terabyte hard drive, memory of maybe 32 gig, and then they set up their network. They set up. You can have even set up firewalls, get applications, running and everything. And then you pay for each service, right? The way the cloud works is that each service you get to pay for. Of course, a 2 gig RAM is cheaper than a 32 gig RAM. All right, so the price is there, and then some prices you get paid like for the RAM and the hard drive and the operating system. You get paid. The cost is calculated per second, right? It might be 0.001 cents per second, but as long as that system is operational, you are paying per second. So at the end of each month, it gathers everything and then you pay. All right. So when you don't need that service again, you can always discontinue it and it will not reflect in your payments. All right, so that's the way it works. So not only virtual systems you get, like the way you have your virtual machines here, you also get virtual networks, you get firewalls, you get applications, you get servers, you get operating systems, you get you get a lot of softwares as well, right? Azure sells its own software, like Microsoft has its own software they can sell to you, like Sentinel and all that. Other vendors come on the cloud to sell their products because they know that a lot of people are using the cloud. So they also design their products in a way that it works. They have the one for the cloud, they have the one for offsite premises or whatever. All right. So that way they maximize their income. All right. So the way this is virtualized is the same way the cloud is, right? And then, of course, for your storage, they have data centers, all right? So your data center, they may pick a data center closer to your location, and then that's where your virtual storage will be, all right? So you can pick any of these services. You can decide, oh, I don't want a full system. I just want only a virtual storage, or I don't want a virtual machine, but I want to be able to host my web application on the cloud, and then use their service for that. All right. So they have what we call app service. They give you a lot of service. And then there are a lot of operations that go on the cloud. So not just security. We have DevOps operations. We even have accounting operations for cost management and other things. All right. We have those that do development, programmers and all that. All right. So a lot of professionals have their work being done on the cloud as well. All right. Now, before we go on, we should know that we have different kind of cloud service providers. All right. But there are three major ones in play right now. When we talk of cloud service, we have Amazon Web Services, that's AWS. We have Microsoft Azure, that's the one we are using today. And then we have Google Cloud Platform. All right, those three companies, they are the major players in the cloud service space. All right, there are some others as well, but these three are the major, right? Now, looking at the three, I'll let you know that Azure actually has the most market space. And the reason for this is because they were the first to, they are the pioneers of this technology, right? They pushed it. They were the only ones doing cloud services for almost 10 years, right? Before Microsoft came in. Of course, they had already taken a lot of the market and all that before Microsoft came in, and then Microsoft started in their own operations. And of course, you know that Microsoft, they are known for very easy interfaces, right? Their GUI interface is easy to use. Their applications are simple and user-friendly. So they've started taking a lot of ground. They're almost meeting up with AWS right now, but AWS is still leading. And then the most recent one to come in was the Google Cloud. Google Cloud too, they have some clients, and they have their own market space, but they are not as close as Azure and AWS. Benefit of Google is their functionalities. They have functional applications, more functional applications than the others. And that's because Google actively looks at user feedback. They even throw campaigns out for individuals or users to tell them what they will like to see in terms of functionalities, in terms of operations, in terms of what Google can do for them. And then they pick all of those things and implement them. One of the very important features that Google brought out that was strictly user feedback was the Google, what we call Google Maps now. It started as Google Earth, right? I don't think Google Earth is still existing, but it started as Google Earth. It's now became Google Maps. And then the Street View, feature was also initiated by their users. All right, just going a bit off on that. All right, so the traditional on-premises IT infrastructure versus the cloud computing. The traditional on-premises it costs a lot of money to start. It's not small. If you are starting a business at this age and time, it is actually cheaper for you to do cloud operations than do traditional on-premises. All right, it's cheaper, and cloud is cheaper to start rather, and also the maintenance, the upfront cost, the maintenance is high for traditional services. But for cloud, you just put your up cost. It may be high in the beginning, but over time it's scalable. It reduces over time. And the way the cloud is structured, the more services you are using, the cheaper it is for you. So and it's also on a pay-as-you-go service. So you only pay for what you are using. All right. It's not like this one that you get to pay for even things that you're not using. As long as you buy them, you're using them. The difference between the two is that the cloud too, you might need some form of specialized professionals, to work on it for you. So it's not easy getting those specialized talents as well. All right. So the cloud is cheaper in the long run than the traditional on-premises operations. All right. Now, talking about cloud service models, I remember I said at the beginning that we have two ways of classifying our cloud operations, either by service model or by deployment model. Now, talking about the cloud service model, we have, is it three? Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Yeah, we have three major cloud service models, right? So we start with the first one, which is infrastructure as a service. All right. Infrastructure as a service is the cloud service model where the cloud service provider, gives you virtualized computing resources, and then you access them over the internet using any browser. All right. So you have virtualized resources like your servers, your storage, your network, your processor, your RAM, everything is virtualized, all right? So the cloud service provider gives you that. And then, of course, they also have to guarantee you security. But even though they guarantee you security, doesn't mean you will not look out for your own security. Of course, you will not say that, oh, I've paid, what do you call these people? Is it vigilante? Yeah, vigilante people to, patrol my environment, and then you don't get to care about your personal security anymore. No, it's not like that. You still have to look at your security as well. All right, but your cloud service provider, part of the SLA, they guarantee you security, they guarantee you uptime. All right, because it's very bad for their market if you are let's say you're using Azure services, and then you're not victim of a cyber attack because of the weakness in that Azure services, not weakness on your own application now, the design of your application, the weakness gotten from that Microsoft Azure service. All right, that's very bad reputational damage to the organization. So they always work on security. All right. Also, things like updates, patch management, they're always a focus. So you don't even need to worry too much about that. If you are running an operating system on the cloud, Microsoft will make sure that it is updated and up to date at all times. All right. Now, for infrastructure as a service, we have companies that provide that cloud service. We have of course, the three companies I mentioned earlier, Microsoft, Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud Platform give out that infrastructure as a service. So they provide you with virtualized computing resources. All right, the next service provider that we want to talk about is platform as a service. Now, platform as a service would allow platform as a service, hold on. I'm just checking those that are in class now. So Favor, Eka, Emmanuel, Rashmi, Chukwu. All right. Platform as a service, the cloud service provider gives you their platform for you to do whatever you want to do. So it's like a surface area with everything you need for you to produce what you want to produce. All right. Of course, there's also security focus there. There's also compliance and all that. Now, talking about platform as a service is like similar to the way, let's say you have a kitchen, right? You have your pots, your gas, your ingredients and everything there, right? The chef just comes in and then cooks what he wants to do. Use your kitchen environment, everything in there to cook what he wants to cook, and then takes the dish out. All right. So that's your kitchen is the platform, right? You provided all the resources that the chef needs to do what he wants to do, and then he comes out with the end product. All right. So platform as a service, we have different organizations also offering that. A very popular platform as a service is GitHub. I don't know if we know GitHub. Have we heard of GitHub before, even if we've not used it? I don't expect us here to be using it, but have we heard of GitHub before?
Yes.
All right. So GitHub is providing platform as a service. And what does GitHub do? It allows you to do some form of version control on your application. That's number one. So you can have different programmers, working on the same application at the same time. GitHub manages everything in a way that you can be working on one part of the application, someone else can be working on that part of the application. It does something we call version control. Puts the application into branches. You have your master space, you have your branch. So when you finish working, you can push your branch to the master. If Oluebube finish working on her, she can push it to the master, and then it's arranges everything together, and you have a full application. So, for example, the application that we want to work on, the capstone project, we can use GitHub for it, where you have different teams working on different parts of the application. And at the end of the day, we bring it all together, put it together and so on. All right. So it's like is it a conveyor belt? They call that in a factory where you have different people assembling things and then putting everything together to make something like a car or something. All right. So GitHub is a good platform as a service. We also have Heroku. Heroku does practically the same thing GitHub does, but it's not as popular as GitHub. Although I think they first even came into operations before GitHub. Give me a few seconds, guys. Hey, what's up? All right. Sorry about that, guys. So we have GitHub. We have Salesforce. Salesforce, they have a platform, a customer relationship management platform, where you can manage all your customers, see products, and I don't really know how CRM works anyway. And it's a very complex, big application. All right. So Salesforce gives you their platform for you to use to push customer relationship management on your systems. All right. So that's for platform as a service. We also have software as a service. Now, need something up here. Okay, I'm good. Okay, so we also have software as a service, right? Software as a service, the service provider, creates a software, designs everything, and then gives it to you as a user. You get to pay a subscription for it and use it. So use it over the internet. Now, all these services we are talking about, you use them over the internet, right? Through your browser, all right? Any browser at all, you just log on and start using the service. So software as a service gives you access to a software, and then you pay a subscription, and then you use it. So we have so many software as a service applications, all right? One of them is the one we're using right now, right? Teams. Teams is a software as a service. It's a communication software. They allow you to use the platform, and then you pay, right? Zoom also is a software as a service. WhatsApp is a software as a service. Google Mail is a software as a service. What's the name of this other one? Google Drive, OneDrive, and all that. Those are software as a service. So the service provider designs the application and pushes it for you, and then you pay and use. So there are a whole lot of software as a service right now. Your Microsoft 365 applications, they are all software as a service. All right. Teams, SharePoint, all of them, they are software as a service. Okay. Of course, if you look at it, everything on the cloud service provider has to ensure optimum security, top-notch security. All right. So they make sure that the focus is on security, apart from the functionality of the application or the infrastructure or the platform. They also make sure that security is a top focus. All right. And then they use different ways of doing security. And also they also make sure they try to meet up with compliance. Although recently we noticed that the very big tech companies are having a lot of compliance issues, especially when it comes to data privacy. So like Meta, like what's the name of this organization? That's NDPC went after, isn't it? Team. A whole lot of them are beginning to have issues with privacy, data privacy. I know Google had issues with them too in the US at the time. All right. So that's software as a service. Do we all understand? Any questions before we go further? All right, so let's move on. Now that's for the cloud service model. Now another thing that we should know here is some people or some school of thought break down this software as a service. So instead of broadening it to software as a service, they break it down into things like communication as a service. So you have like Zoom, WhatsApp, Teams, Skype. Those are communication as a service. They have things like storage or database as a service. So that will fall under, what do we call it? Google Drive, OneDrive, iCloud, and what have you, right? They also have email as a service, your Microsoft Mail, your Google Mail, Soho, and what have you, right? But if you really look at it, it's all generalized under software as a service. Okay. So for me, I just prefer putting it under software as a service. Now, moving on, we have what we call the cloud deployment model, right? The cloud deployment model is, remember I said we have two cloud categorizations, so either by service model or by deployment model. Now, the cloud deployment model helps us, is the way the cloud has been deployed, we get to categorize it as well. All right. So in cloud deployment model, we have the public cloud, the private cloud, the hybrid cloud, and the community cloud. All right. So the public cloud is where cloud services is delivered over the internet as usual, and then it's open for anybody, right? So for public cloud, you have Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. So you pay and then you have access to that cloud model. Anybody can access it. All right. We have a private cloud, which is locked, right? So it's not for the whole public. So your private cloud might be, well, the way I look at private cloud, most of it is owned by big organizations, very large organizations. So an organization can decide to create its own cloud environment. It doesn't want to depend on Google, Azure, or AWS. They create their own cloud and they use it exclusively for their operations. So I know IBM has its own cloud. IBM has its own private cloud. Cisco as an organization have their own private cloud. You don't get to access it. Only their employees or those within their internal operations access their cloud. They also, there was a another company again, Oracle too. Oracle have a private cloud. All right, some very big organizations may have their own private cloud. And also, you can see a private cloud like, let's say, Curate, for example, using Azure's, what's it called? Azure's infrastructure as a service. Whatever they have designed or they have gotten from Azure is now their own private space. All right, it's not open to anybody. Only those they give access to. All right, so whatever cloud services they pay the subscription from for the purchase from Azure is now seen as their own private cloud. All right, so that's for the private cloud. For the hybrid cloud, it's just a mixture of both. You can have an organization that has its private cloud, its private services, but now combines some features of the public cloud. All right, so I can have an organization like, let's use a big organization now, like, okay, let's use something like Curate now, right? So Curate designs his own private clouds for his own internal operations, but decides that, okay, since we already have top-notch data centers or data storage services being run by AWS. AWS has the S3, Amazon S3 buckets and all those stuff, right? We can harness that instead of getting our own data server and all that. Or sorry, data center rather, which will cost a lot of money to obtain, to run because data centers are very expensive to run. Yeah, the power you use alone, the computing resources and all that, it costs a lot of money for both startup and operations costs. So you might say, okay, AWS already has something very fantastic that works very well. Why don't we use their service and pay for it? It's cheaper for us, all right? So that way, Curate will be using a hybrid cloud. They have their own private cloud, but because of certain functionalities, they decide to get that from another cloud service provider. So that's what we call the hybrid cloud, using both private and public. Now we also have what we call the community cloud. Community cloud is actually run by different organizations, maybe in an industry, all right, that need to share data or share information among themselves. So they use the community cloud for that. Now you see it very much in operation, like in the health sector. Like where we have NHS, they'll create a community cloud for every organization in the health sector connected to NHS. They can have access to NHS cloud and get access to their records, medical records, or whatever records that needs to be there. Another example is like the stock exchange, for example. Every organization within the industry that they regulate would want to connect to the stock exchange cloud to get information. Stock exchange can also push information to them, and they have access to run their operations or their interactions with the stock exchange through the community cloud. All right. So most organizations that have similar, that are working within the same or similar industry may decide to come up with a community cloud for their shared benefits. All right. So those are the 4 cloud service models. All right. If we have any question about this, now is the time to ask. I don't like the fact that this class is so quiet. I hope your silence means you're understanding. All right. Now, how do you mitigate risk on or threats on the cloud? Is similar to the way you do it generally, but on-site operations on cloud. It's just that the cloud is more broad in certain aspects. First of all, you have to do proper identity and access management. You must put aside proper role-based access management, or if you are using mandatory access management, you want to put that in place, or whatever access management technique you are using. So you have to ensure that those that have access to resources are the right ones that should have access to those resources. always implement encryption, protecting all your data, both at rest and in transit. I'm sure by now we know what data at rest is and what data in transit is. Use network security tools. Remember, we talked of our firewalls, our IPS, our IDS. They're also applicable on the cloud network as well. All right, so on your personal cloud network or what you call your cloud infrastructure space, you want to implement all these as well. All right. Also, you need to do regular vulnerability management. So you can deploy vulnerability management tools or solutions on the cloud that will help you check for vulnerabilities within your environment and then alert you and give you proper reports on what to do to log them. You also need to have proper backup and recovery on the cloud. At this stage, I would like to let us know that disaster recovery on the cloud is actually far easier than doing on-site premise, all right? Because most cloud service providers already provide good backup and recovery services to you, right? Part of what part of the service they offer is very good backup and recovery. So your data is not just stored on the cloud in the data center, it's also backed up across various other data centers and various regions. So you can easily do data recovery when there's any form of data loss, right? Okay. Before we go on, right, there's something I want to bring to our notice. So let's just take 5 minutes to talk about this. But if we have any question on what we've been talking so far, we can handle it. So before we go on, where's my browser? Did I close my browser? Okay, it's not closed. So there's this exam. There's this certification exam, right? ISC squared. ISC squared is, honestly, I don't ever know these things. The I, S, and C is 2 times. International Security Consortium, SC, the meaning. Right, it's a certification body, right? International Information Security System, International Information System Security Certification Consortium. It's a well-known cybersecurity body. They give out, you write professional exams there, and then you get IT, cybersecurity certifications. They have a lot of cybersecurity certifications. They introduced one some time back, like 2 or 3 years back. You can see some of their certifications. CISSP, this one is very popular. CCSP, this for cloud security. SSCP, CGRC, this is for GRC, right? Certified in GRC. And they have this as well. A lot of people try to get this, right? CISSP and CGRC, right? So they have a certification they introduced a couple of years ago for free, right? And then it's called Certified in Cybersecurity. So it's an entry-level cybersecurity certification. And it's been free for, I think, since 2022 or so. They made it free for the first 1 million people to write that exam. They have gotten their targets. They have gotten to their target this month. So 1 million people have written that exam. So they are going to stop it from being free. But the deadline is May 20th. You can see it's still free, but you can see the information here. So by May 20th, it will no more be free, and you will end up paying about, I don't know, but it should be about $500 to $600 for this exam. So I want us to try and write this exam, right? It's simple. You can register for it, prepare. To be honest, you can prepare in like a week for this exam and write it and pass. The coursework or the course outline for the exam is what we are covering in this course, right? And then they also have a free training, like a training module or something like that on the same website where you see trainings. You can also do a mock exam, right? And you get to write the exam. Now, they have various CBT centers where you can write the exams, depending on where you are in Nigeria. So I suggest that we should register for this exam, pick a date, before this May 20th, and then prepare and write the exam. All right. But if you're going to register now, because of course, to get a center, a lot of people want to be writing it now. So it may be difficult getting a center the closer it's getting to this date. So let's register and let's write it. My previous classes, previous cohorts we've been having on Curate, I've had a lot of my students or some of my students write this exam like halfway into the course and then they passed it. A lot of my students have passed this exam. Some right after, some right into it. But unfortunately, because of the timeline for this deadline, I would suggest we register. Of course, by May 20th, we should be done with this whole course, right? But don't wait till we finish because there are a lot of things we are doing here that is not even covered in this course outline. I have one of my students that registered recently. I think he sent me the course outline. Hold on, let me check my WhatsApp. Just give me a few seconds, please. All right. So the course outline, the topics the exam covers, cybersecurity principles, that's the fundamentals, incident response, business continuity and disaster recovery concepts, access control concepts, network security, and security operations. Now, in all this, I think the only thing we've not really touched on is security operations. Of course, we've done some level of security operations, but we've not done SIM, right? SIM should be our last module. That's security information and event management, right? But it's an entry-level exam, so it's not so technical, although the questions are scenario-based, so you will need to think well before you answer. And the timing is 2 hours, and if you know what you're doing, you can finish everything in 1 hour. You have 120 questions, 2 hours. But if the exam is easy for you, you can finish it in 1 hour. So timing should not be a problem, right? So let's go through these sites. I'm going to drop it. Yeah. There's a free training. There's where you can register here. And then you may need to create an account on their site and register and then pick your dates and what have you. So I'm going to drop this link on the Discord as well. Do we have any question on this? Once you write the exam, the result comes out immediately. Once you hit submit, you see your results. They print out a slip for you, and then I think within 24 hours or 48 hours, you get your certificate. The certificate is digital, so it's a digital certificate. You can just download it, put it on your LinkedIn or whatever, print it out or whatever. Do we have any question on this?
I have a question, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
That the exam, is it objective questions that they are setting?
Yes, it's objective. Yes, it's objective. You have multiple choice answer. Some answers you have to select more than one. Okay. Of the choice, maybe like 3 or so, but they won't tell you how many is correct and how many is wrong. So you have to select the correct ones.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you will need two valid ID cards that you need to present in the exam on the day of the exam. So just make sure you have two valid ID cards. We know the valid ID cards in Nigeria now.
My valid
International passport, voters card, NIN, and which one? Driver's license.
What of that license?
I did not hear what you said. Can you repeat that, please?
No, I said what of driver's license?
Yeah, driver's license. Yeah, I mentioned driver's license.
Okay.
So there are four of
Yeah.
them. International passports, voters card, NIN, and driver's license. So 2 valid ID cards is required. All right. So I think you will need to call me in like 30 minutes or 1 hour before the exam. There's a registration process. There's where they will collect your biometrics and all that before you start the exam. But I think you see all those when you're registering. So you can do this free. We also have a cybersecurity entry exam too that you can do as well. This our course outline covers it as well. What's the name of this exam? Security Plus, right? Security Plus is not free anyway. But I normally tell people one of them is okay. Security Plus is run by CompTIA. So it's CompTIA Security Plus. This is ISC squared certified in cybersecurity. They are both the same kind of certification, but some people may see Security Plus as more popular. So anyone is fine, right? I would suggest you do this one because it's free and do it as soon as you can, right? And if you need any help in preparing, they have a free training. Yeah, you can see it here. Just find a way of accessing it. They have a free training. You can see it here. And if you follow that training alone, you pass the exam. It's because it has videos, it has some sections you read. At the end of each section, you do a small test, maybe like 10 questions, and then you proceed to the next section like that till you finish. You can actually prepare for this exam. I just told us 1 week, but you can actually prepare for it in 2 days. Write it and pass it. But let's not take that risk. Let's settle down and prepare. All right. So I'll suggest you do that. I, for one, do not believe in certification, like paper certifications. I don't believe in it at all. But I have a whole lot of them anyway, and I'll tell you why. Nigeria, we like paper. We like paper more than anything. Nobody seems to even worry much about what you can do. Is that paper that will first get you through the door, then before you now get to display your hands-on experience, all right? In tech, hands-on is the major thing, but certifications tends to show that, yes, you actually know that field. All right, so let's go back to our show. Any other question on this before we move on? All right. So, okay. So we are going to go straight into our hands-on for Azure. I've told us to get an Azure account, and then we're supposed to go along with me on my demos. So let's see. So let's create. I've logged on to Azure already. So this Azure environment, this is actually for TechExcentric. TechExcentric, for those that don't know, is the parent company of Curate. All right. So Curate is like the training arm. TechExcentric, they do both trainings and consulting and some other cybersecurity services as well. All right. So this is their Azure environment. Yours will be free, like not free anyway. It's free to register Azure. Like it's free to register, then you start paying for services. They have some free services anyway. But you get $200 startup bonus. And I think it's valid for 2 months or so. So you can always whatever you are doing, whatever cost we are going to do or we are going to incur from what I'm doing here, is far less than your $200, right? So you don't need to worry. But one thing you should know in the Azure environment is that you get charged. So there's a cost center or a cost management center where you get to see your charges. Some services you get charged per second for using them. Some you get charged one-off. Depends. All right, so there are a lot of services on the Azure environment. So if you log on, this is your homepage. You may not have all these things here, but this is how your homepage looks like. Now, now I said this is TechExcentric's Azure environment. So I was created as a user and given certain privileges here. So there are some aspects I may not be able to access. I think the cost management I should not be able to, and I should not be able to access ThriveAbia as well. So I'll talk about these and then I'll speak with Uche to see if he can elevate my privileges here. All right. The Azure environment works very effectively with identity and access management. So let me even see if this ThriveAbia will open at all. Okay, it should open, but I can't create a user. Yeah. All right, so you can see the name is TechExcentric. See if I can add user. Oh. Oh, I can add a user. Oh, that's great. Okay, we'll come back to this. So this is the Azure environment. Now, this is your menu. You have a whole lot of things here, right? You can see a whole lot of stuff here. Virtual machines, you can create virtual networks, you can, introduce load balancers and all that, database. There are a whole lot of things here, right? This is cost management and bidding. I don't think I will be able to access this. Let's try this. So for your cost management, yeah, I'm not able to. For your cost management, because we can't use I think I'm a contributor, right? Only the owner will be able to access this. For your cost management, this is where you get to see a breakdown of your costs so far, maybe your monthly costs, and then you can look at the services you are paying for and then remove the ones you don't need. Any cost you've incurred, you must pay for it. So you have to be careful in the Azure environment. There was a lady, although that was not on Azure, on AWS in the DevOps class, because they work fully on the cloud. She mistakenly incurred cost of about $600, right? That's a lot of money in Naira. So thank God that she's not in Nigeria, although she's a Nigerian. She's in, I think she's in UK or so. So she had to pay that money because of, playing around things that she should not have played around with. So please be careful. Always look up your costs before you do whatever you want to do. In your cost management, you get to see things, cost you're incurring. All right, so let's go back to, click on Azure here, back to our home page, right? Now we have a lot of services, a lot of things we can do here. If you hit more services, you see they are categorized. There are different things you can do here. You see them categorized here, right? There are a whole lot of things. Most of them I don't even know, right? Because it's not my job. It's not what I do normally. So only things relating to what's it called? Cybersecurity that I may, have knowledge about. All right. So you get to see different apps, you get to see different solutions here. Most of them are paid, they are not free, right? Azure might give you some basic free services, right? So you want to use the free, but although the paid services will always have more functionalities and more security attached than the free services. So in enterprise environments, you barely see someone using like a free firewall, right? But you can have some free. Ubuntu is free, it's a free operating system. So we would even deploy an Ubuntu virtual machine. So we can always implement that, and you can always use Ubuntu free machines. But Windows is paid, right? So you see different section, different categories. Anyone you click on, you get to see items in it as well. All right. So I'm going back to my homepage. Now, what I normally do, the easiest way, anything you are looking for, just type a search here and you see it. All right. Instead of looking for going through the menu and then going to the category of it or whatever. All right. So now there are different services Azure gives. You have these here, right? These are always shown here based on what I'm opening and what I'm closing. All right. So we have app services, right? If you want to deploy or create web applications, this is where you come to mobile apps and anything related to applications. You can design it here using, there are so many programming languages you can use, right? This is not our business. We don't work with this, right? I've told us of cost management. Entra ID is identity and access management. Of course, this is something that in cybersecurity you want to work with, all right? So we'll look at that. Virtual machines, the same way you create virtual machines here on, what's it called? VirtualBox. You can also create on the cloud, right? And operate your virtual machines with virtual machines. Your network security groups is the same with your firewall, all right? It's called network security groups in Azure. Virtual networks, your network, all right? So this is where you want to create your LAN, your WAN, and all that, your give IP address, your subnets. Resource groups, on the cloud, we have what we call resource groups. So things are organized on the cloud. So you can run different, if you have multiple organizations, you can put a resource group for an organization. Remember the example we gave with, was it Volkswagen or was it? Okay, we can use Abia State for that. So imagine we want to create Abia State government on Azure, right? We can put it into resource groups. Maybe each ministry will have its own resource groups. So like Ministry of Education, you create resource group for it to have its own network, have its own virtual machines, firewall, or it's everything operational concerning Ministry of Education will be in its own resource group. Ministry of Science and Technology will be in its own resource group. But the first level you want to create is your subscription. All right. Your subscription is where your payments get charged to. So each, you can see this is a subscription. Each resource group is attached to a subscription. So I can attach all the resource groups to ThriveAbia, to Abia State subscription, such that payments will be coming from Abia State paying for this subscription. Of course, your subscription is tied to your cost as well. All right. So that way things are organized. Now, inside your resource groups, you want to create your networks, your virtual networks, your virtual machines, your firewalls, whatever tools you are using for your operations, whatever virtual tools will fall inside your resource group. So when you are creating anything, it asks you to select the subscription that will be charged and then the resource group. So you can have multiple subscriptions as well. All right. So Abia State can decide to break subscriptions down. Maybe subscription for maybe the ministries separate from subscription with agencies. It's just an idea, right? It's something they can do. So a separate subscription for agencies, a separate subscription for ministries. All ministries will create resource groups under the ministry subscriptions. And then all agencies will create resource groups under the agency subscriptions. And then you can manage each subscription by yourself. Who is there? Eru? Okay, so that's for subscriptions and for resource group. Now, if you see, Curate already, they have 2 resource groups. I don't know what they are for. I don't want to start, it's private to them. I was just created as a user to, teach cloud computing on their platform. So I will not be going into their personal stuff. I think I'm the one that created this. But this network watcher, this is a network watcher. This is a resource group. And then this is a subscription, right? So let's start by creating our own resource group. So now you can use here, click on resource group, or create a resource, or search for resource groups. I always search, it's easier for me, right? If I click on create a resource, it's complex. Sometimes I won't forget where to go and all that. You can see it gives me a lot of, these are all resources I can create. And then I'll look for what I want to do in this section here, which is a bit confusing sometimes. So I'll just type resource group. Once you start typing, it narrows it down for you, right? But let me go to the desktop. So it's from here, home page. So it's from here I do what I want to do. So all right, so I can see resource group here, but this is marketplace. The marketplace is they are selling is where you have different solution providers selling their solutions. So you don't want to go to the marketplace. This is the one we're going to, resource groups here, right? Unless you want to buy a software or a solution, then you go to, because you have resource groups being sold by solutions providers on the marketplace as well. So I've created resource groups. It has showed me all the resource groups here. You can see create here. So create new resource group. See when I hovered over it, create new resource group. So I'm going to create a new resource group. Now you see the subscription, it automatically selects, because we have only one subscription, it has selected it. All right. So your resource group will be under a subscription. So I'll give it a name. Sorry. So let me call it let's call it ThriveAbia resource group. Now I like naming my stuff like this. So by looking at it, I already know what it is. All right. So I just call it ThriveAbia resource group. Okay. Just underscore ROG. So I already know what is it. Or you can remove the underscore and just put ROG there. Anyone is fine. Now the region is, you're supposed to select the closest region to where your company in operation is, or where your enterprise operation is. Now, this gets to determine costs. If this item or this service is going to be costs, it's going to have a cost. It gets to, because of things like taxation, things like regional laws and all that. Now, you are supposed to select closest, also because of things like data centers as well. All right. So the closest data center to your location is what your organization's resource group will be pushed to. Now, you want to select the closest one to you because you also have things like compliance laws. You have things like, you remember our GRC class, right? The compliance laws in US may be different from that of Nigeria, different from that of South Africa. All right, when it comes to data protection, when it comes to other things as well. All right, so you want to select one closer to you. Tech-centric is actually they're actually based somewhere in, I think, in Canada or US. I can't remember it. So this is fine. All right, they're the ones that selected this. So I'm not going to change this. On our own, we can use US East. Now, something we should note about data centers. Now, this is just for knowledge purpose. Africa as a continent is far, far, far lagging when it comes to data centers, right? In Africa, we have less than 1% of the data centers in the world. Less than 1% of the data centers in the whole world is located in Africa, right? If you look at the statistics, it's very alarming. And we have countries like US, Hong Kong, Japan, China, having more data centers, it's like 50 times more data center than the whole of Africa. A single country is having it, right? So our governments need to sit up and start working with. There should be a public-private joint venture in terms of pushing technology. All right. If we have all these things in place, the cost of technological operations will drop seriously. Right. So Africa has less than 1% of the data centers in the world. And of that 1% that are in Africa, right, over 60% of that 1% is in South Africa. So the remaining is now spread in other parts of Nigeria, of Africa. So you see that we are just we're playing a wrong game on the wrong field, right? Where people are playing football on football field, we're playing something else on our football field, right? Nigeria, I know of only one data center actively operating in Nigeria. The rest are not really active. I know of only one, and it's in Asaba. It's not in Lagos. Because you have to look at where you can, get 24/7 power. And if you are going to power using your own full-time, your own power resources, data center uses a lot of power, apart from network as well. If you are going to put power using your own resources for 24/7, it costs a lot of money, right? That's why we need government involved in it. Our government, they are busy thinking about to ban importation of what they call it, solar panels, and put tax on people that have solar panels without providing us lights. So that's it. So US East is okay here. There are a lot of regions here. You can see them. There are a lot of regions, but I don't think Africa is. Is Africa? Have I ever seen Africa? See, only South Africa is here. See what I said about data centers. So normally this should be the closest to us, but I think we can just go ahead and use US East for our own. If for those of us that are doing this demo with us together, you can use US East. Because if you choose that South Africa, the cost will be high. So next. So tags, I generally ignore tags, right? Just to help for search and proper indexing, right? I generally ignore it. I don't put any tag here. Next. So review and create, it just shows you what you've done so far before you hit the create button. All right. Now, resource group is free, so don't worry about costs. So I'll create it. I've created it under this tech-centric subscription. If you are doing your Azure, yeah, I think it will tell you to create a subscription first. So you just create that and then put your. Okay, so I've created this and I'm not seeing it here. So I'm going to show you. Let's go back to the home. Where did I create? Where did I create my ThriveAbia, right? Okay, it's here. All right. So I have it created. I can always view it. Right? There's nothing inside my resource group yet. So that's how you create a resource group. Just see a resource group like a container that holds everything you are doing. All right. Now we've created our resource group. What else can we create? Of course, after creating your resource group, you want to create your virtual network. Sorry, guys. So what were we doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
All right, so we've created a virtual network. Where's it? The next thing you want to do, we've created our resource group. The next thing you want to do is to create your virtual network. All right. So the network where all our services will be on, all our resources will be on. So I will come here and just type virtual network. All right. So this. Suddenly slow. Open the virtual network now. Hey, guys, can you hear me? I don't know if that's in my own network that's giving me issue. Seems okay. Hello.
I can hear you, sir.
Hello. You
You
can
can
hear
hear
me clear. Why is this thing not opening? Eh. What's happening? Ah, sending field. Okay. Okay. So this virtual network has shown. All right. So we'll create here or here. Any of these create works. All right. So we want to create a virtual network. So it has automatically selected the subscription. So we want to change the resource group to the correct one, ThriveAbia, right? We'll give our virtual network a name. So let me call it ThriveAbia VN, right? The normal naming convention, and then we select the region, US East. Next. Now, this is where we start selecting features we want our virtual network to have. Now, this virtual network, this is from Azure. You can always get a better one from the marketplace. So you want to use encryption. Of course, you want encryption to be in place. So you put that. Azure Bastion is a paid service, so we don't want to use this, but it helps to secure SSH and RODP. That's what Bastion does. SSH is for remote connections. RODP too is for remote connections. Just that RODP works only on Windows, right? So Azure Bastion will help to put extra security features on SSH and RODP connections because it's a way that attackers can also use to gain undue entry into your environment. Please, guys, I'm sorry, I seem to be cutting out of this class a lot today. I need a minute, please. My dog needs to take a biological break. I need to release the dogs. Or else just continue disturbing this class. Please just give me 30 seconds. I'll be back now.
Okay, sir. Seconds is up.
All right, guys. Sorry, I'm back. So as not to incur cost, we won't select this, but normally you want to, enable Bastion. And then Azure Firewall is a better firewall than the one we are using. This is a very basic firewall. So you want to enable it, but it's not free. All right. It's not free, so I will leave this out. All right. Now, this is another security feature that you want to enable as well. It's not free, it's paid, right? But it helps to protect your network from distributed denial of service attacks. All right, so you can enable Azure DDoS network protection. In a proper environment, you want to enable this too. All right, because the firewall that will be deployed now is just a basic one. Right? So I'm going to leave these ones unticked because of cost and go to next. Now, so here we want to set our IP range. All right. It has already given us the IP range. You can change this for your LAN, right? You can change this to your taste, and it has given us one subnet, so you can add more subnets later if you want to. So this is our IP range. We use CDI, it uses CDI arrow, so you can change any of this. But this 16 is 65,000 IP addresses. If you want to, reduce it, you can go for maybe 25 or something. Check your. Did I share a picture, a JPG image of the different CIDRO ranges for subnets?
Yes.
All right, so you can look at that and decide if you want to, because normally if I'm starting a new organization, I would not want to give open 65,000 IP addresses. I should not have more than 100 employees at a go, or maybe 300. So maybe I'll just want to reduce the number here. But of course, this subnet is fine. 256, yeah, well, it's okay. So that's the IP address space. I don't need to do anything here. You can add more subnets if you want for different departments or whatever. You can do that here. You can see the IP address is using 10.0.0.0. And you can change it to, you can use 192 or 172. Okay. So everything is fine here. And you want to use IPv4 or IPv6, anyone is fine. You can use anyone. So next, I didn't change anything there because the default is okay. All right, so review and create, you're looking at what you've selected. And then you want to create. You want to create it, right? So everything is fine. Just hit create. It showed me it has created now. Okay, it's still deploying. All right, so everything is successful. So we have created our virtual network. Let's just let this load. All right, so everything is open. You can see more information about the deployment here. And this thing is so slow today. All right, so you can always go to the resource, click on it, and you get to see your virtual network. All right, so this is it. Features that you did not implement, you can always come back here and implement them. All right. Microsoft Defender basic is always involved in your cloud. So you have your basic Microsoft Defender. It's like a network kind of antivirus and firewall. It's a network security tool anyway. So it protects everything on your network. Mostly like an antivirus. All right. So you have details about this, the resource group, the region or the location, the subscription, and all that. All right. We have our address space, our subnets, and all that. Now we've created a virtual network. Of course, the next thing you want to do is to create like a firewall to protect your network, right? Your virtual network has some security features already installed with already integrated into it, but we want to create a firewall. So to do that, I'll come back to my home. You can see all the things we are creating. They're all here, so you can click on any one to access them, right? If you need to change anything or something. So I'll come back here to create a firewall. What you need to do is to go to network security group. Yep, network security groups. Understand why these things were operating so slow like this one. Yeah, I wanted you to make food for the dogs. Let me put them in the cage first. Did you hear? I release only the smaller ones. Put them in the cage, then make food for them. Were you sleeping already? Have you eaten? Thanks. So why is this thing going so slow? Let's see. Oh, it has opened here. So why is this one? All right, so I'll just create a new one. Here. Okay, so I'm going to put it in ThriveAbia resource group. And then I would call it, let's call it ThriveAbia firewall. Next, that's tags. I'm not using tags. So next, review and create. And you should create it. Hey, this thing has started again. Oh yeah. Okay. I've not clicked on create. Sorry. Okay, now it's going to create. All right. So I've created it. Now you're right here. You can see your cost management. You can set up alerts, but I don't have access to that resource right now. You can set up alerts for your cost. You can put a benchmark on your cost. Maybe if you put a certain amount, once your cost reach that amount, it will alert you that look, you are going above your cost, so you don't get to spend more than what you have. All right. But the cost management is mostly run by people within the organization, like the finance and accounting team. But if it's a smaller organization, of course, it's one person that runs the whole cloud. Okay, so this is our, what's it called? This is our firewall, right? It's a basic firewall though. But before we do anything, we have to associate our firewall with our subnets or our network. So if I go to settings here, network interfaces, click on associate, and then select the interface you want to associate your firewall with. Why am I not having any interface here? Wait, so did I create my... Okay, so this is it. It's under network interface, subnet, and you want to associate. And then you're associating with this network. So you're associating your firewall with this network and this subnet. All right. So that's what would make your firewall active on this network. All right. So go back to the overview. Now, this is our firewall, right? It does the basic stuff, like it's okay, but I would not recommend it for proper enterprise operations. There are better firewalls. The Azure firewall is a better one. It's more of a next generation firewall than this. This is just basic. So it comes with rules already, like 3 rules, default rules, right? So you have the way.
Please, excuse me.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Please, which firewall did you say is basic?
This our network security group firewall. The one we just implemented, this free one. This free one we implemented on Azure. Well, I'm just using it for, learning purposes. You can use it anyway,
Okay.
but there's a better firewall than this,
It's weak. Okay.
right? So the way this firewall is, remember I told us that the whole idea of writing firewall rules is kind of the same, but the environment, the interface might look different. Now, the way this is, it has two sections: inbound rules, outbound rules. So inbound rules, they cover rules that operate with inbound traffic coming into your network. Outbound rules cover rules that operate with traffic going out of your network. All right, so you have both ways. All right, so if you are setting a rule, you should know whether to set for both inbound and outbound or only one of them, depending on what you want the rule to do. All right, now these three rules, they come by default. All right, you can see this one: allow any inbound traffic on this virtual network from this virtual network to this virtual network. So on the LAN, allow traffic between both devices on the LAN. Allow traffic through the load balancer. Remember, well, I'm sure we know what a load balancer is. It's a tool that helps to, it's a device that helps to fight against denial of service attacks, a way of stopping any overloading of your network. There's a kind of attack where an attacker can just overload your network with trash traffic, a whole lot of trash traffic, and then the load would use up all the resources and then crash it. So the network is not operating again. So your load balancers make sure that that traffic is being organized, is being sorted out, does a kind of queue system, and then manages the traffic. It might make the network a bit slower, but it doesn't crash it. All right. When the traffic is too much, it might make it a bit slower, but it won't crash it. All right, because there's not a queue system in place. And then it does like a first in, first out kind of queue system. Now, you're now denying every other traffic, right? So the way Azure works, it uses numbers. So the lower the number, the higher the priority. So this will take priority over this. Remember I said you should have a denial rule first, and then you now start creating what you should allow. All right, the same with the outbound. You see the denial rule, and then you now start allowing what you should allow. All right, so for this allow internet, so allow any rule here, any network traffic from anywhere within this outbound, within this network, or anything at all to connect to the internet. So if you are going to make outside connection to the internet, this is what will allow it. All right, if you disable this rule, no system within this environment can connect to the internet. All right, so that's it. So I said this Azure firewall would use this numbering system. So the lower the number, the more, the higher the priority of the rule. All right. So each rule would have a number. Okay. So let's create one rule, for example, and see. So to create a rule, we'll come to, okay, if I want to create an inbound rule, I come to inbound security rule. If I want to create an outbound rule, I come to outbound security rules under settings. So let me create an inbound rule. All right, so I'll come here to add, and then you select your source. All right, I can select, remember what our source could be. It could be an IP address, it could be from any or what have you. So let's select any. Source ports, you can put this asterisk means any, this wildcard, right? It means any port. But or you can put a particular port. So I can say, let me block traffic from RODP, that's port 3389, right? You can put a range too. So I can say from ports 21 to 22, this works as well. All right, or from 21 to 30, it works as well. So let's block RODP 3389. Destination, we can put any as well, or you can put anything on our application security group, or a service tag. Service tag will not be maybe coming from to the internet to this virtual network. This is our virtual network. Or, we have a load balancer, Azure load balancer automatically deployed. You can select that as well. That's if we select service tag to pick that. If you want an IP address, put the IP address there. All right. So let's put service tag and let's put this network. So we don't want anybody from outside our network or the internet to connect to any machine within this our network using RODP connection. So I'll just choose service tag and select virtual network. So this is our virtual network. The service normally is RODP. You can leave it at custom because I've already selected this port, but let's select RODP. All right. So you can see the destination port has already been selected because I selected RODP as 3389. Protocol, you want it on TCP because RODP is on TCP protocol. Action, we want to deny. Now we're now going to give it a priority. Let's give it a number. So I want it above all these rules here. So let's give it, I normally start from 10,000. Sorry, not 10,000, I normally start from 1,000. And then, what's the name of the rule? Deny RDP inbound traffic. Right, so the description is deny all RDP inbound traffic on port 3389. So virtual network. Okay, let's change this to SSH. I'm sure we're used to SSH. Let's change it to SSH. So we'll just change the port to 22. We'll change the service here to SSH. So we're denying SSH traffic, not RDP. So port 22. So for the source ports, is better we put any here, even though we know SSH is on port 22. An attacker can decide to use SSH or not, put SSH on other ports on the system, and it will bypass this, right? Although the destination port will still block it. So let's put any here, just to be on the safe side. Any is for, so any range at all, it will block it. So let's add. All right, so you can see the rule has been added here. All right, the rule has been added, and So if you want to set for outbound, you put it here as well. You put your ad here. All right. Now we also have monitoring here. All right. You can always monitor your logs, your firewall logs here. There's nothing to analyze yet because we've not yet had any traffic or anything here. But there's an analytic tool here you can use to monitor your log. You can also check your flow logs. You can also check alerts. So
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Please, can you more slowly go through the last process you just did?
Which last process? For the firewall rule?
Yes, each field. I don't really
Okay.
get what each field is talking about and the values you are imputing. So let me know exactly
Okay, no
what
problem.
they are or what they stand for. Go and lie down.
So this is the firewall. Remember we did pfSense firewall, right? I thought that some of these things are already things that we're familiar with. All right, so I created this rule. So to create a rule, you come to settings, go to whether you want inbound or outbound rule. Now, the difference between this Azure firewall and pfSense is this fact that Azure has outbound and inbound and outbound rules. All right. pfSense, we call it LAN and WAN. All right. So you create your inbound rules is traffic that are coming into your network. So you create inbound rules for them. Outbound traffic going out of your network from maybe a system in your network going out to the internet. This one is coming in. This one is going out. Now, to create inbound rules, I created one inbound rule. You click on inbound security rules here under settings. For outbound, you click outbound. So I went to inbound and I have this. So I can always edit this. I've created this already. So let's click on it. Now, what this rule did, what the rule I created was to block any inbound connection trying to connect on my, what's it called? On connect using SSH, right? On port 22. So I'm going to create the inbound rule. So I clicked on it. So the source is, of course, I can use any. So any connection, whether coming from the internet, coming from within my network that wants to connect on port 20 on connect with SSH, I want to block it. All right. So the port range, I would have put 22. It's proper to put 22, but it's better to use asterisk. So asterisk means all ports. All right. So I want to block any inbound route that is coming with all ports. Now, the reason why I don't want to use 22 is because an attacker might decide to put his own SSH ports on a different port number. So once it sees 22 here and the person's port is different, maybe 55600 or something, it will allow it, but it's still ports, it's still SSH. All right. So that would, break my rule. All right. Now the destination, that's you will know the source where the traffic is coming from. So the destination is now where it is going to. We are using service tag here. In pfSense, it's where we use things like LAN subnet or LAN network or something, or WAN and all that. So here you can select an IP address. If the destination is going to a particular IP address, you select it and put the IP address. But since we want it to affect our whole network space, we use service tag. Then you get to select which service tag it is. Is it the virtual network? So your virtual network is this, your whole network, your LAN network, right? And that's what I want. So I selected that. But you also have an option of selecting your load balancer. I explained what a load balancer is. Microsoft Azure's Microsoft Azure's network firewall comes with a load balancer. Now you can also select the internet. So is the traffic coming? Of course, this one I'm selecting is not the internet, but you can select the internet. If the traffic is going to the destination of the internet, you select it here. The other things you can select here, Azure gives you a way of selecting that you can block traffic coming from a particular region, and you can see the regions here, right? So if I feel there are a lot of attackers or there's no way I will have any traffic coming from a particular location, I don't have any staff in that location, so they have no reason to connect to my internal network from that location, you can block it here. All right, so you can use this region blockers here. All right, but what I'm selecting here is my virtual network. The service, of course, is SSH. It's SSH I'm blocking. And then if you select SSH here, automatically it picks the port for the destination, which is port 22. And then it also picks the protocol, which is TCP. I can decide to check the service here and put something else. There are a whole lot of things I can put here, right? But it's SSH I'm blocking. So I put SSH there. So it selects every other thing for me. Now the action, we have only two actions here, allow or deny. Remember PFSense, you have pass, block, reject, those three actions. This Microsoft Azure's firewall is only allow or deny. And then we give priority to our firewall. Now, remember I said the priority, the lower the priority, the higher it is, the rule is, or the more priority the rule, the lower the number, the higher the priority the rule has. So 1,000 is lower than 65,000. So it is highest on the table here because of that. So save it. Now, the way I normally do my operation, I can do 1,000, 1,010, 1,020 like that. All right. Some people do 1,001, 1,002. Doesn't matter. So I've saved it and we have the rule here. Do you get that? So if I go back to my overview, we have the rule here.
So please, can you help me understand more on what you said about the higher the number? I didn't get you clearly. I didn't understand.
So this is it. Azure's firewalls work with a numbering system, right? The lower the number, the numbering is in ascending order. You know the way you count 1 to 10. So 1 takes priority over 10. So they look at 1 as bigger than 10. It's not the way you really think of it in your mathematics. All right, Azure's one is different. So any number you give your firewall, I gave my firewall this number because I want it to be above these 3 default rules. All right. Now, once my rule is the smallest number here, it comes up to the topmost place. If I want to place a rule to be lower than this, that means I have to give it above 65,500. All right. Now, the way it works is exactly the way your PFSense firewall works. The higher the rule, this rule takes priority over this rule. So if I have a rule that says, for example, this rule says deny all traffic, inbound or whatever, and then I now have a rule that says allow SSH, it will allow SSH, but deny every other one. All right, okay, but this my rule is saying deny.
I get it.
Yeah.
Get it now.
All right.
So, and again, please, at that destination, sorry, can we see the previous, where you came from? Destination service tag. Destination service tag.
Yes. So the same
I don't
way,
really understand.
Yes, I told you guys that firewalls, the way firewalls work they are kind of the same, but the presentation might look different. Now, remember when we're doing PFSense, right? We talked about you can block traffic or allow traffic on maybe your LAN network, your WAN network, your LAN subnets, and what have you, different kinds of environments. That's how service tag works in this firewall. All right, so you can allow on any, so anything authority allow it. You can set IP address, or this rule we did is to deny. So you can set IP address. Once you select IP address, it will let you type in the IP address you want to block traffic from. All right. Sorry, you want to block traffic to because this is destination. Now, service tag allows you select what exactly you want to do. So virtual network is this particular network. So you are blocking traffic coming into this network on SSH ports. All right. Your Azure load balancer, we know what a load balancer is. It has an IP address and everything as well. So you can block traffic coming into your load balancer from outside. I don't know why you want to do that, but you can do that. You can also select other things, right? There are so many other things. You can block going to the internet. So any traffic going, coming into the internet, or this would probably be an outbound rule for you to block the one going to the internet, right? If you see this last rule here, it's not displaying now, but once I close this, you see it. You see that it blocks traffic going to the internet, all outbound traffic going to the internet. All right. So for what was I saying? Yeah, so for the service tag, you can now select different options here. In this case, I want to block all inbound SSH connection to my network, my virtual network. That's why I selected this. Azure even takes it a step further. You can block traffic going to certain regions, certain locations. So all you have to do is to know the region, and you can just select it. It will block it. All right. So that's how it works. So for example, if I know that, in one particular country, maybe in which country now? I know there are some countries that have very bad reputation, like Albania, right? You have a lot of attackers there, you have a lot of hackers there, and you know that there's no way someone will want to connect to your network, your internal network from that location. You don't have any employee or any staff there. You don't have anybody that went on vacation or holiday there. So you can block that traffic. Any traffic coming from there, you block it. All right. So you can select that here as well. Now the service is SSH. We're going to block SSH. And once you select SSH here, there are different services. Once you select SSH here, automatically it selects the other options. So SSH is on port 22, is a TCP, is on TCP protocol, and we select deny as the action because we're blocking traffic to that location. If you want to allow traffic, you select allow, and then you give it a priority. I gave mine 1000 to make sure it's at the top, and then you give your rule a name, and then you give it a description as well. All right. All right, so that's the rule here. This is what I was saying about. Yeah, so you see one rule here that allows everybody on this network to connect to the internet. You see, through the internet here. So you can connect outward. So it's outbound. You can connect outside to the internet. Without this rule, there's no system on this network that will be able to connect to the internet. But you can only connect within the network. All right, do you get it now?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So
Now,
what we are doing here now, can I define it to be building a firewall on tech-centric Azure space? I think that's where we're working on. Are we
we're
trying to
building a
build
firewall for ThriveAbia.
Yes, but on
So I didn't get you. I didn't get the last thing you said. Are you there?
yes, we are building. Yes, I'm here, sir. We are building a
Okay.
firewall for ThriveAbia
Mm.
on tech-eccentric Azure environment, Abi.
Mm. Yes. So we created a resource group for ThriveAbia. We
Yes.
created a resource group for ThriveAbia. Tech-eccentric has its Azure environment. So it has a subscription. If you have you registered for your Azure account?
No, sir.
Okay. So if you have been following the class, you see that TechEcentric already has a subscription. So I just created a resource group. A resource group is like a container, right? Everything relating to what we are doing will be in that resource group. So you can have multiple organizations running in one Azure environment, right? So you can have tech-eccentric resource group, you can have ThriveAbia resource group, which we have here. So we have ThriveAbia, we have Curate, all right? We have ThriveAbia, we have Curate. Everything about ThriveAbia will be in this resource group. Everything about Curate will be here. Now, the ThriveAbia resource group, we created a virtual network. So we created a network to manage that resource group. Inside that resource group, there was a virtual network we created, ThriveAbia virtual network. And on that ThriveAbia virtual network, we've created a firewall to monitor the environment and monitor activities, network traffic activities on that environment. And then we created one rule, right? So everything still falls inside the ThriveAbia resource group. All right. So if I open ThriveAbia resource group, it has started this thing again, this slow motion thing. Well, if I open the resource group, okay, that's open now. You can see the contents. So we have the ThriveAbia virtual network and the ThriveAbia firewall. Always remember to associate your firewall with a virtual network after creating it, or else it's not protecting anything. It's just on its own. So another thing we want to do here is to create a virtual machine, right? Let's just create a virtual machine and then see how it operates. Remember, you can create virtual machines in on the cloud, right? And then they have same features that your hardware system has, but it's virtualized. All right, so I'll go back to here and create our virtual machine, this one. So this is where your knowledge of VirtualBox comes into play. This should be very easy for you because there's nothing new here, just a few new things. Why these things just looking out, out of the okay, this one has opened. This one no. Hey, I've closed everything. Oh, no worries. Okay, so let's go back to virtual machine. All right, so we want to create a virtual machine. So I'm going to create and select virtual machine here. Hold on. So there are different ways of creating it. You can create one that's already preset, configured and everything. But I want to select everything myself. All right. So I'll select that first option. All right, so you can see everything you are doing. You have to select the subscription and also the resource group you want to create it in. If you have only one subscription, it's automatically selected. The same thing with your resource group. So I'm selecting the ThriveAbia resource group. And then let's give our virtual machine a name. We'll call it Jump Box. Let me just call it Jump Box. Yeah. Okay. Linux is telling me if I want a Linux machine, this underscore may not work. So let me just leave it. So Jumpbox VM is like an entry system into my network. So I'll just call it Jumpbox VM. The region US East is okay. Now, you can select to scale your virtual machine. So the more it's you're using up space and all that, it will automatically increase the storage space. And of course, you know that will increase your cost as well. Or you can leave it at no infrastructure redundancy. But in this case, if the hard drive gets full or there's something or the RAM is no more operating as properly as it should, it doesn't automatically increase it. It will just send you an alert or something. All right. So we have this. So what security type do we want? It's still loading. This thing is still loading. All right. For certain regions, you may have to select a zone. So some regions have zones where you can also host your virtual machine. Let's just leave this as self-selected. So it's selected zone 1 for us. But where you have zoning is mostly in Canada and US, and I think UK. So security type, you can select different security features on your virtual machine. All right. So for these security features, some of us, our current laptops, you see it has TPM, Trusted Platform Module. Now, what that does is that it encrypts your board settings, your BIOS, and then automatically you can also use it to encrypt your hard drive in such a way that attacks coming from the boot sector will be harder to penetrate because it's encrypted. All right, so it increases the security level on your system. All right, so there's encryption. It's ingrained on your laptop. It will be What did I just click? On your laptop, it will be a chip on your motherboard. All right. So it's not something that is software. It's actually a hardware chip with backing software module on it. If you check your BIOS, you might see it there, but it's not on all laptops. But I'm sure I'm certain maybe on our systems is a security feature that newer laptop models have now. All right. So we can leave this or use the basic level security. All right. I can't remember if this is free or not. So, well, after this class, I'm going to delete everything I've done to save costs. So let me just leave it. Let's use basic level. Don't want to take chances. All right. So here, your image is which operating system do you want to install? All right. Remember, we said Ubuntu is free. Some have cost. If you select Windows or some versions of Ubuntu like Red Hat, sorry, Linux like Red Hat, it's not free. All right. So you can see this Ubuntu 24.04 is free. All right. So you can select that one. You can see your image and select. So it's not only Windows and Linux operating systems that you have available. There are so many of them. Okay, there are so many of them. You can see. This is 526 pages, so you can go to the next page and view a lot more. But the most common ones are already up here. So I'll just select this one. This is free. What is this? I think if you click down, you should see the pricing. There's somewhere you can see the pricing. There's somewhere that shows the pricing. All right, I think it's somewhere here. I'm trying to look for the pricing just to show the price before. Well, I can't see, but I know Ubuntu is free, so we can select this Ubuntu 24.04 and use it. Let's check other options here and see. All right, so I can just select it here and let's put it on Gen 1 to reduce the price. All right. Wait. Okay, we're fine. So selected Ubuntu. So the VM architecture, is it 64 bits? Is it ARM? ARM is like the architecture type that some MacBook uses. So because we selected Ubuntu, it's not the I don't have any discounts. So the size here, this is for your your CPU specs and also your RAM. All right, you can see the RAM, 1 gig RAM with one virtual CPU is $7.59. I think that's monthly. All right. The higher you go, the higher the specs you select, the more that you get charged for it. You can see this one has 4 CPUs with 16 gig memory. It's $140 per month. All right, you can see more of it. Of course, you select the one that you want to use for your operations here, the one that suits your operations, the optimal one that suits your operations. So there are different, you see the CPU, number of CPUs, you see the RAM. This one is very expensive. Yeah, so you see the cost, right? This one, $251. So the cheapest is that's our $7. It will work for our Ubuntu. I'm not going to say it here. I'm not seeing it here. This one is 500 MB. Not 2 gig, but 0.5, or 500 MB rather. With 2 gig data hard disk. Okay, this is the one we selected. 759, right? One CPU. This is the one we selected. 1 gig RAM and 2 data disks. So selected this. You can enable hibernation, but you have to select the kind of disk that you use. Now, for this our virtual machine, it's going to load Ubuntu operating system. So let's select the way of logging in with the admin. So let's use password, and then you select the username and password. So let me just put my name as username, password. It's giving me. All right, I need to write out password. It must be a minimum of 12 characters. I need to write it down. Hold on. All right, so let me put it again. All right. So it's going to tell me if I want to allow SSH to connect to this system. If I want to use SSH to connect to this system, I would like to do a demo on connecting to the system using SSH. So let me allow it. I've already denied it before. If I click, if I leave allow here, it would, I think it will create a rule. So I'm going to allow this and then allow SSH connection and then click next. All right. So here, you want to know whether the disk should be encrypted or not. This is not a free service, so you can activate this later. Then you want to also select the hard disk space. We've selected RAM, we've selected operating system, we've selected the CPU size. Now the hard disk. Okay, 30 gig is fine. Disk type SSD. Let's reduce the price. Let's use standard. Standard HDD. SSD is more expensive. So if we use HDD, it will use lesser amount. This thing is acting strange because normally there's a side panel here that estimates all my costs as I'm working, and I can see the total cost. But I'm not seeing it here today. So it's telling me that it recommends premium SSD, but because it's just a testing, training purpose thing, I'm selecting HDD, but normally it's better to select SSD. All right, so if I delete this virtual machine, I want this hard drive to be deleted as well to save me cost. So I hit this ticked. So what we want to do now is to create and attach our new disk to our virtual machine. If we already have an existing free hard disk, virtual disk, we can attach it here. So I'll just create and attach my new disk to this virtual machine. Why is it putting on it to 1 gig? What I selected the 30 gig before, I selected it now. All right. So delete disk with VM, yes. Should we do key management? Then that's fine. So let's save. So we have the disk attached now. And then we can go to next. So this is where you assign IP address and assign this virtual machine to the network that it should be on. All right, remember we can have multiple networks. It's possible. So automatically it has selected it for me already. And it has given an IP address. So I'll also tick this, delete the IP address and everything when the virtual machine is deleted. So you can also enable your load balancer on this virtual machine. All right, so remember we have our Azure load balancer. So you can enable it so that to save it from some network attacks. So it's here saying I should select my load balancer. My load balancer is not showing yet. That means we don't have a load balancer. So let's put none. So why are we having firewall rules for load balancer when there's no load balancer? Okay, so next, management. Oh, I've skipped one. Previous. All right. So you can see my subscription is protected by foundational cloud security posture management free plan. So I can also add other services here, right? You can use Microsoft Entra ID to log in. Entra ID is Microsoft Identity and Access Management application. It used to be called Azure Active Directory, right? Just like our normal Windows Active Directory, but on the cloud. We changed it into Entra ID not so long ago, like a year ago. So you can allow enable auto shutdown. You can also allow backup. All right. But this would incur costs. So I'm going to remove it. But normal practice, you want to allow backup. And when we are done, you go to monitoring. That's the next option. You can create alerts for when there are issues, you get alerted. So this mainly for health management and monitoring. You can enable guest diagnostics as well, but I'm not going to tamper with anything here. I don't want to incur cost. Remember, Tech Eccentric does not have free $200 voucher. So anything we're doing, we're paying for. So next, this is advanced. Don't think anything needs to be done here. All right, so we don't need to view tags. Let's review and create. Yeah, so we can go through what we've done. You can see the pricing for our RAM and processor, $0.0104 per hour. In a month, everything will be $7 something. So we have all this here, information we need for the network and everything working, and then we can create a virtual machine. All right, so we have our virtual machine created here with this disk IP address and other things attached to it. So I can click on where's the virtual machine? Let's see. Let's see this IP address first. Oh. So I'm just looking to see the IP address. Okay, so this is the IP address, right? Let's copy it. So let me go back to my home page. And I have my virtual machine here. It. So it's running already, right? That's why I came here to check. So the machine is running already, and I can connect to it. All right, so this is the IP, and I can connect to it. So if I do connect, I can connect to it via SSH, right? But let me check if it's accessible. I know I did a firewall route to block SSH connection. So let's try it here. CMD. Yep, port 22 is not accessible from source IP. Okay. So let me just connect it here. So let me fix this because my firewall will not allow the connection. Let's see. Yep, it's not going to allow it. So let me fix it. So it's telling me I have a rule that denies it. This is the rule. Deny SSH inbound traffic. So let me go to my network settings. And I'll just create a portrait. No, instead of doing that, let me just delete this rule. So instead of deleting this rule, let me edit it and change it to allow. Wait, why is it not allowing me edit this? Okay, so it did not connect. I need to change the name. It's not allowing me to change the name. I've changed every other thing to allow. So if I run this SSH connection again, it should run. So this is the IP address of my virtual machine that I just created, and this is the login. So I want to connect through SSH. Yeah, so it's going to connect. Just type yes here. Yeah, so it's asking me for my password. Yeah, so the connection it has connected. You can see that I'm connected to my Jumpbox VM. All right, you see it's on, it has connected to the Ubuntu machine, I think somewhere here. Yeah, look at it. So I'm connected to my VM on Azure, and I can start doing my operations on I can start doing my operations on this terminal. All right, so that's how you connect it to it. This rule was blocking it before, but I've had to allow it. All right. Do we have any question? So far we've what did we do? What have we done so far? We've created a resource group, a virtual network, a firewall, and we created one virtual machine. We set up rules in our firewall. Cost management is not really accessible right now because of my so my user access here is contributor. You have to be at least owner or global admin to be able to view costs and manage costs. So I can't really see, but it's a big section where it analyzes your monthly costs, estimated costs, the current costs you've incurred and all that. You get to see all of them. Now, another thing that we can talk about is Entra ID, but our time is far gone, so we'll stop here, right? Entra ID is for identity and access management. It's part of what you do in network, in cloud security. But we'll stop here. I'm not even sure I have enough access on Entra ID. I don't think I have access to create a user. But before we close, there's something I wanted to talk about. On the cloud, there are some limitations or some issues you may face that you may not face on your on-site premises. Now, if the first issues that you can face on the cloud is the fact that getting professionals that know cloud environment is not easy. Like there's a shortage of professionals that know cloud. So for you to move your operations to cloud, you have to employ cloud service operators at different levels, maybe DevOps engineers, DevSecOps, dev security operations, cloud security professionals and all that. And then those guys cost a lot more of money, and people with that expertise are not many. This thing has started again. So people with that expertise are not many. Also, if you need to do an investigation on the cloud, maybe there's an incident, it's difficult. Sometimes do I have access to admin center? It's difficult sometimes to get the resources you need for your the resources you need for your investigation. Now, what do I mean? Imagine you have a cyber attack on your cloud operations, so you need to get logs, network logs and some other information from your cloud service provider. Now, remember that those information is also an internal private information to that cloud service provider. They may not want to release it. So you may have to start going through legal loopholes and other things to be able to get it. Time is going. All right. So when you need to do investigation, it's difficult. Sometimes also because of compliance, different regions and all that, you get to involve lawyers from different regions. You get to, there are certain things that are available in a region that may not be available in another region, like illegal and all that. So you want to look at all these as well. So there may be some bottlenecks when you need to do investigation, all that. So those are limitations on the cloud. Also, sometimes people believe that when your operation is on the cloud, then you're untouchable. You might not you might not be able to, you might not be, you can't fall victim to cyber attack. It's not true. Even your cloud service provider falls victims to cyber attacks as well. All right. So let's get to know that. This is the Entra ID Admin Center. Let's see groups. So this is where you manage your identity access. This is where you manage who has access to what, all that. I don't know whether I can see groups. Yep, can't see. I don't have that access. Let's see. I can see users, but I can't create users. I can't even see the users. All right, so what I'll do, I'll ask Uche to give me higher privilege. So this is actually where you can create a user, give the user a role, and based on the user's role, it gets access to certain areas of the Azure environment. Now, the role I have is contributor. As you can see, I can't create a new user. So as a contributor, I can create things like resource groups and other things I've been doing. But I can't create a user. I can't view costs, management and all that. Only an owner or a global admin can do that. So I will just tell you to give me global admin access for a few days. So I'll run this with us in our next class. Our next class is Monday. So let me just chat him now. I'll chat him maybe after this class. So we'll do identity and access management on Monday. This is where you do security access. You can even add devices to your Azure on the Entra ID and then give access to different devices on that Entra ID location. All right, do we have any questions? So by the next class, I should be able to add this access.
Yes, I have a question. It talks about connecting virtual machines and networks to the firewall we just created. And I don't know if you've done that. If you have done,
Yes, no.
didn't get it.
So I created a virtual machine. I've already added my virtual network to the firewall. Hold on. Let me. I've gone out of the Azure environment. How will I remove this? Hold on, no, these things. Okay, so this is my Azure. So I created where's my firewall? This is the firewall, right?
Yes.
It's dragging in. All right, so this is the firewall. This is the firewall. And remember when we created it, we had to add it to a network interface. So this was the network that we had to associate it rather with our network, right? We came, we came here, right? And associated this subnet to it, right? Just by clicking associate, you associate your virtual network and your subnet to it, right? Now, any device that is created on this network, on this ThriveAbia virtual network, it will be given an IP. Automatically, it will be protected by this firewall. And I created a, what's it called? I created a virtual machine. I created a virtual machine called Jumpbox VM, and it automatically gave it an IP address, right? On that network, you can see the IP address. This is the private IP address, but it also has a public IP address. So they are both protected on that network. All right, the network that I assigned the ThriveAbia virtual network. So the firewall is already protecting it. So for me, any device I create or anything I create in this network environment, automatically the firewall is protecting it. All right, that's why initially I could not connect to the using SSH, because I had already created a rule on the firewall to deny all SSH connection. So it did not work because of that rule. That's why I had to go and change the rule to allow it before the connection went through. All right.
Yes.
All right. Any other question before we go? Let me take attendance, please.
So all what we've done, is it all what we've done now, like on the cloud, is it an alternative to the other processes we could have gone, like the times we created our virtual machines, downloaded Ubuntu, Linux, and Windows? Or is this an alternative? Could this be
It's
an
not an
alternative to that
alternative the way
process?
you mean. It's not an alternative the way you mean. So the way the cloud operates, right? If you are going to start a business, always will be international imports or international merchandise, right? You can
Okay.
decide to have your office in a location, right? Somewhere in Aba, right? And then you decide to have your server in your office, right? Aba has Bank Road now. Yeah. So your office is in Bank Road in Aba. And then you might decide to have physical server. You buy your server machine, buy your rack, your server machine, buy your router and everything, connect everything, physically, and then your modem is connected, your firewall and all that, and then your staff machines are connected physically to your server and all that. Now, that physical connection can be virtualized on the cloud, and it is cheaper, right? That's one. So you can decide, instead of starting that way, and instead of spending as much as 70 million just to get those resources up and going, you decide to do the cloud. The cloud might charge you maybe like 10 million per year, right? Because you get to pay as you go, right? So there's a monthly subscription. So it might cost you 10 million per year, and then you can always downgrade. You can you can upscale or downscale. Now, that way, you have two options, either doing on-site or on-prem IT infrastructure, or you decide to go to the cloud. Now, another thing for the cloud is you can't say the network is down on the cloud. All you need is internet connection. It's always up 247, right? Your on-site premises, you might have your switch one day decides to spoil. That day, you will not be able to work until you go and get another switch and get someone that can install it, a network engineer that will install it and do everything for you. While it is down, you are losing money. It's not like that on the cloud. The cloud also provides some services like backup, recovery, and all that, right? You pay for it anyway. So you get to choose. Do you want to do cloud? Do you want to do on-site? You measure it out and see. That's one. Number two, in cybersecurity too, you don't get to choose the operation your client is using. All right. So if you meet a client that is using cloud operations, you can't stop him. You still have to do security services for that client. So you have to be familiar with the cloud service or the cloud space. That's one. Number two, if you are doing investigation, you are doing incident response, you don't get to choose the location as well. It could be cloud access as well. All right. So you need to, know your way around the cloud. You need to be able to secure the cloud. You need to be able to secure on-site premises. It's the same kind of operations or thinking, right? It's just different environments. That's all. Do you understand?
Yes. Okay. So in that my organization now, that my business, Olive International Merchandise that I've created, so I can decide to have my on-site connections and as well do this too on cloud, because on-site,
Yeah, but you
remember
spend
we
more money.
already have.
Yes, if
Because
you
I'm looking
decide to
at
do
it that
the
we
two,
already have virtual machines. We already have, so coming on cloud too, we also have to download another
you already have virtual machine where?
on site now.
You already
Downloaded
have
in
virtual
our
machines on site.
computers.
No,
Yeah.
you don't have virtual machines. A virtual machine, it doesn't really exist now. It's virtual.
Yes.
You already have computers on
But
site. So let me tell you the way the way people that use cloud operations work. So let's use a bank, for example. Let's use, which bank was I talking of? Zenith Bank now, for example, right? Zenith Bank can decide, of which I know that that's probably what they are doing. They can decide that we will do all our operations on the cloud, right? All their softwares, all their IT infrastructure is on maybe Azure, right? Now, it's there. That's for the backend. But front end users, so the tellers, the fund transfer officers, the customer service officers in branches and all those, even their some of their staff, their backend staff too, they will access the cloud with computers, right? So they will just buy computers for those ones, for those users. Now, on those one systems, what they will do is just to go to Zenbank will give them a website or something that they will use to log in. And once you log in, you have access to your own part of the application that you are supposed to use. You have access to it. But that application is not stored in a physical server, in a physical server machine somewhere. It's stored on the cloud, right? All the resources, all their network is on the cloud, right? So that way you are guaranteed uptime. So one thing that you're guaranteed on the cloud is you are guaranteed the uptime like 99%. You will barely go and say you want to connect to the cloud and see that it is down. All right. So that is why a lot of organizations move operations to the cloud. And on that thing too, when you're talking about storage, you don't want to be storing data. You don't want to be storing data in a hard disk or other forms of storage, physical storage. You can easily go bad. Your building can catch fire. So it's better to store on the cloud, right? And the cloud also provides very good backup and recovery services. So it's nowadays, it's actually better to do cloud operations than doing what they call it, on-site operations. Remember your on-site operations, the systems you are buying today, in the next 5 years, they become outdated and they would have spoiled. Imagine if your server goes bad, your server machine, right? If it goes bad, you have to get another one. Those machines cost a lot of money. It's not, your server machine is not your normal laptop kind of specification. They are talking minimum, maybe 32 gigabytes of RAM. your processor speed is something else, your hard drive is something like if you want to use physical machines for those things, one server machines can go as much as 30 million naira. Your firewall to cost a lot of money too. The only things that don't cost too much, maybe like your switch. Switch would be like 500K or 700K, depending on the quality. Even your router, your modem, okay, they don't cost too much too. They're still around the same price of your switch. But at the end of the day, you have spent a lot of money. The whole setup of your server room, you have to provide HVAC. That's your ventilation, air conditioning, water. There's what they call it in the full meaning is HVAC. Let me check. So you have to provide all those things. You have to provide 24/7 power. You know your server is not supposed to go off. Your firewall is not supposed to go off. So all those things, it's better to have it on the cloud where you are guaranteed 24/7 uptime. Trying to look for the meaning of HVAC. I know the AC means air conditioning, ventilation and air conditioning. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, right? So you have to make sure that your server room is, because your machines, they are on 24/7. You can't afford to allow them wear out. So you have to have very good air conditioning. The place has to be very cold. And then there has to be proper ventilation in terms of heat should be able to be transferred outside. All those, what do they call all those things? Is it vents or something? Those fans that takes out heat through a vent to outside the building. Then your power as well. You have to place your server on a different power grid from that of the main building. You have to put backup power in place. You must have very big UPS, you must have solar backup and all those things because those machines must not go down. So that's why the cloud is better. Do you get now?
Yes, I do.
All right.
So especially with the example you gave on Zenith Bank, I do.
All right. There's a trend in this class. People join and leave before the end of the class. I notice everything going on. So why is that? I noticed that Ugochukwu does not ever stay to the end of the class. Also favor. I'll start putting them absent. Now that's why they really take attendance at the end of the class. Emeka joined our class for the first time in more than 4 weeks, and he could not stay to the end.
Emeka Ejim.
Yes. He joins today.
He's still here.
Oh, he's still here. Oh, great. I did not know.
And it's not the first time. You remember there was a day you were asking.
No, it's not
about
the first time. I said the first time in like 4 weeks.
Okay.
Not the first time.
I didn't join. I couldn't join in time today. I was trying to join the class and Teams was telling me to hang tight. They are opening Microsoft Teams. So I didn't really get what people talk about.
Okay, I'm listening. Sorry.
Did you talk about our meeting today?
Yeah, I did.
Presentation and
Yeah. I asked about the presentation. I think I asked Emmanuel and Favor. Were you there?
Yes, I was there.
How was it?
It was good.
All right.
I thought
so your laptop, you
mention
said on Monday, right?
Yes. Said I should check back on Monday.
Okay, you were saying something before that.
Yes, you thought to mention that Emeka was there at the in-person session. I told you he always attends in-person sessions and active in the sessions. Although I don't know what you talked about before, but this is my own view. You know, that day we were talking about him. We were considering how he would be absent in class and active in the sessions. Today I was really shocked myself. He's like
But his ear is
someone
not
that has
even
been
talking, so
following.
I doubt if it's owned by his system.
Okay.
Emeka, are you there?
Okay.
Hello, Emeka. You see, he's not even responding, so I doubt if it's owned by his system. So the main thing is that this whole training is not just the in-person session alone. You have to be in classes too.
Yes,
You
yes,
get,
I guess.
I think 25% of your total score is from class attendance. 25% of your total score is from class attendance. Then you have projects and then other things as well. So I don't know. And I give a report. I give a report on class attendance. I give a report on yeah, that's another thing too. You guys have not done your projects for the last 2 weeks. And I don't know what the challenge is. Nobody has submitted this project. Nobody has submitted this project. Is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks? I don't know. Nobody has submitted this project. Now, for this cloud security, the project is already up on the LMS. It's already up on the LMS. So it should now be 3 projects that have not been done. And then you get penalized for not submitting on time too. All right. So I don't know what the issue is, why people are not doing their projects. And without the projects, you can't go on. So your class attendance, your projects, and some other things that make up the whole 100%. So anyways, let's try and take it serious. We are like halfway gone already for the training part of this ThriveAbia. And I think there's another part where we do more of mentorship, right? So let's take it more serious. Is there any other thing? Were you in the class when I was talking about the professional exam that we can write, a free professional exam?
Yes.
All right.
ICS squared, yes.
ISC squared. I've put this link on the
ISC,
Discord.
okay.
Please let's take it serious, because once this time elapses, this exam is no more free. IT certification exams, they are quite expensive because of exchange rates, right? I wrote one recently that cost me $650. That's a whole lot of money. So if you see any free one, it's good to do it. And you hardly see free ones shut out. This is the only free one I've seen so far. And it's been free for more than 2 years. So that's all. There's nothing else. I think we're done for today. Emmanuel, are you there?
Yes, sir.
How far your PF Sense?
So, yeah, my laptop has gone off.
I didn't get that. The network is breaking up.
So I said my laptop has gone off, like it's off. Hello?
I can barely hear you. Your voice is breaking up. I think your network is not good.
I can hear him. He said his laptop has gone off.
His network has gone off.
His
Laptop.
laptop.
Okay, your laptop has gone off.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What we have on there tomorrow when you have chance, just chat me up and then we'll come online. We'll probably use Google Meet.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other thing? All right. If there's no other thing, I think I'm done. So see you guys on Monday. Yeah. This class is Monday as well, yeah. See you on Monday, and then let's come prepared, please. And please do your projects and submit on the LMS. All right, take care. Please remember to send your presentation for today to me, please. I'm very curious to see it. All right, bye.
Okay.